En el año 2012, el Censo de los Estados Unidos reportó que los hispanos constituyen el 17% de la población total de la nación. Sin embargo, este dato ilustra el crecimiento de los hispanos en los Estados Unidos, y cada día miles de millones de hispanos contribuyen a la cultura y la economía de los Estados Unidos. Pero siendo hispano o latino en los Estados Unidos viene con sus propias retas. En los medios y en la sociedad vemos que nuestras identidades se han creado en un remate de una broma, y esos estereotipos nos afectan de una manera muy real cada día.
Me llamo Daniela. Soy de Sutherland, Oregon. Although English is my first language and I was born in the United States, soy latina.
Mi nombre es Mónica. I'm from Napa, California, y soy latina.
Me llamo Stephanie Alemán.
Christy Flores and Kayla Flores. We're from Sutherland, Oregon. Latina.
I identify myself as Mexican. I was born here in the United States, but that doesn't stop me from identifying myself as Mexican. I never really identified myself as American, mainly because other people are like, you can't be American, and so I just never really did that.
I identify myself as Latina. However, growing up it wasn't always easy to. My mom didn't want us to really show that side of us, and so I feel like growing up here it was definitely harder to identify myself with my own background.
I identify myself as being Latina. I also say I'm Mexican, but I don't know why I say both.
It doesn't, because we know who we are in our minds.
I don't know. I don't really. It's like not something conscious I do. I'm like that I'm gonna use American culture, but I mean growing up in it, you can't help but associate yourself with it.
It's kind of ironic. My family celebrates 4th of July more than the Mexican Independence Day. I actually don't even know what the day of the Mexican Independence Day is, but we have huge parties for Christmas and like Thanksgiving. I don't know if Thanksgiving is celebrated in Mexico now, but we have huge parties even though we're not. I mean, I guess we're from the United States, but not from origin, I guess.
To be Hispanic or Latina in the U.S., it feels like we always have to prove ourselves to someone or something, just to fit in or just to get by.
I think to have like a connection with the culture. Sometimes people say that you have to like speak Spanish or you have to, in order to be like considered Hispanic. But I think it's just having that connection with the culture. It's really important to like learn about your roots or do things every day or like every once in a while that remind you of like where your family's from or where you're from.
We've been called border hoppers, beaners, wetback.
Sometimes I feel like I can't really call myself Mexican or Hispanic just because I've heard that like most of my life, even like my sister, she was born in Mexico, and she'd always be like, stop acting just so white, or she'd be tell me just like, I can't really be Mexican or all these other things, which I guess her growing up, but at the same time I was like, whatever, I was like, do what I want. And I've kind of shied away, at least when I was younger. I was really grateful that I didn't look Mexican because I thought like, well, at least I don't have those stereotypes and like I won't be made fun of. It's easier for me to blend in the background and not have that. So
I remember in 5th grade I was in a class with a bunch of really mean boys, and they would always be like, stupid Mexican, and you can't do this because you're Mexican, or you're this because you are Mexican. And I remember even one time some boy had donkey kicked my knee because he didn't like the fact that I was Latina.
Really, these stereotypes make us want to work harder because, yes, there are some Latinos that are limited to where they can go because of the lack of English they know or whatever the case may be, but for most of us, we just want to prove ourselves that that we can do it. You know, it makes us want to work harder, just to show that we're not what people think we are.
I speak Spanish with my parents. That's probably the only time I speak Spanish. Sometimes with my sister, if like we're joking around, we're always like no mames and like stuff like that. But I usually try to speak Spanish with my parents, and I try to cook a lot of Mexican food.
I would say things that my family does to preserve identity would be the type of food we eat. We eat the beans, rice, and I mean, I try to speak to my mom in Spanish, but most of the time she just answers back in English.
I think my parents have helped me the most with staying true to my identity. They like don't like it when I speak English at home, or when I speak to them, they just want me to speak Spanish.
We talk to our mom and family members about our culture, and we just ask questions. We do dinners, like during Christmas time we do tamales, and we still do cultural things that Spanish people or that Latinos would do during holidays.
Soy Latina and I'm proud of it.
Soy mexicana y mi piel no me define.
Soy Latina and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Somos Latinas, and we're ready to take on the world.